UNC-TV gratefully acknowledges the support of Our State Down Home in North Carolina magazine, celebrating 68 years of North Carolina travel, history, personalities, and folklore. Our State, available at fine bookstores everywhere. And by the Charlotte Museum of History, open daily except Monday, now presenting Community of Faiths, the spiritual and religious heritage of the Southern Piedmont. Information available by phone or on the web.
Funding for the search for Princess Charlotte was provided in part by the Mary Duke Biddle Foundation in cooperation with the Triangle Community Foundation. Hi, I'm D.G. Martin, and I want to tell you about an exciting new connection between North Carolina and Germany. And I want to tell you about a trip that I took searching for, no, better yet, let me take you with me. This is Charlotte, North Carolina, the largest city in the state, in the largest county, Mecklenburg. Charlotte has been known for years as a center of business and banking, and now is becoming a center for professional sports. The Hornets and the Panthers, called the Queen City home. Queen City. How did Charlotte get that name? It came from this lady. Princess Charlotte became Queen Charlotte when she married George III, King of England. The city's pride in its royal heritage is quite visible, with Queen's College, Queen's Road, the crown on the city's logo, and all the street signs. The link to royalty doesn't stop there. Queen Charlotte is also responsible for the name of Mecklenburg County. Before she was Queen of England, Charlotte was a princess in this German principality of Mecklenburg.
Herz, Schmerz, wirklich sind das, ja, das ist nur und sonst noch was, ja, das kennt manche bald, ohne Liebe kann man nicht das Leben gehen. Und dann ist noch keine neue Mann, immer ein noch neue
Having grown up in Mecklenburg County, I had always wondered what Princess Charlotte's Mecklenburg home was like. But German Mecklenburg was a part of East Germany, behind the Iron Curtain, and almost impossible for Americans to visit. The Berlin Wall came down on November 9, 1989, opening up East Germany. Since that time, I have learned a lot about German Mecklenburg, including that the name Mecklenburg was first used in the year 995. A celebration of this anniversary inspired a group from Charlotte to visit the region and participate in the 1,000-year celebration of Mecklenburg.
The German King Otto III, who was in this fortress on a campaign against the Slavs in September 995, and he wrote a document, Mecklenburg. That means he had to make it easier for himself, translated the name into his own language. And that is actually the first time that the name Mecklenburg appears in writing.
The beautiful lakeside city of Schwerin is the capital of Mecklenburg and the site of the anniversary activities. Dignitaries from all over Germany and representatives from North Carolina took part in the festivities. A huge birthday party was staged in the theater of the former Grand Dukes of Mecklenburg. Several years before this celebration took place, I was here in Schwerin to begin my search for Princess Charlotte. The castle at Schwerin was the center of government for the Grand Dukes, and it seemed like a logical place to start. The castle is impossible to type. The guidebooks say it is 16th century French Renaissance. But there are so many different elements. Onion domes that could have come from Russia, Gothic gates and towers, facades from Italy, and other features that my untrained eye could not identify. All were bound together to make a special castle that is fun to look at from every angle. We've looked all over this beautiful castle for something about our Charlotte, but found nothing there. But someone has told us that in Güstrow, a nearby town, there is a castle where the Dukes of Mecklenburg once lived. Maybe we can find something about Charlotte there. 50 miles from Schwerin, I found the typical German village of Güstrow. Güstrow was the home of Ernst Barlach, a heroic German sculptor who fought the Nazis and paid the price. His works are treasured all over the world, and appreciation for his talent is growing. I began to love these stark, solid, sad statues as they are displayed in his workshop not far from the castle. The Mecklenburg Dukes held court in the Güstrow Castle as well. Though not as charming as the Schwerin Castle, it is solid and strong, built more like a fortress. Construction on the castle began in 1558, and it is said to be a good example of Renaissance architecture. we've been all over this wonderful town of Güstrow and all over this magnificent castle, but we found nothing of Princess Charlotte here. Maybe that's as it should be. Of course, the last reigning Duke of Mecklenburg-Güstrow died in 1695, and the castle was empty after that. So there's nothing of Princess Charlotte here. We'll have to go look for her someplace else. Well, here we are in Wismar, and we were told to come here. We might find something about Princess Charlotte. But Wismar was under Swedish control for many years, so there's no evidence of her here. Swedish control, we should have known. Look at the restaurant behind us, Altersved. It's the oldest restaurant in town. But Wismar's a lovely little town with a fine little seaport, beautiful marketplaces, churches, and people. We'd like to show it to you. Wismar is a small but beautiful seaport town on the Baltic coast. When I first came here, I met fishermen, newly freed from government direction of their work. All were struggling to decide where to fish and how to market their catch. One of them had placed a sign on his small boat, "Deep Sea Fishing Trips." The skipper told me that selling fishing trips was not allowed under communism, but now he can do what he wants with something he enjoys. Wismar's marketplace is now full of new entrepreneurs enthusiastically selling their wares. This particular vendor is selling nectarines and grapes from Italy, something that was unheard of just a few years ago. In Wismar's shopping district, urban redevelopment is taking place everywhere. Dull, unpainted storefronts from the old days are being restored to bright new shops selling goods from all over the world. As beautiful as Wismar is, we have to continue our search for the princess. Not too far from Wismar is the ancient cathedral of Bad Doberan. Well, we found our way to Bad Doberan. Unfortunately, it's not the best day in the world as far as weather is concerned, but I'm real excited because I understand there are more than 60 members of the Dukes of Mecklenburg and their families buried inside this cathedral at Bad Doberan. It's a beautiful cathedral, as you can see, red brick, and it goes all the way back to the 12th century. Even on a dark, rainy day, the interior of the ancient brick cathedral is awesome. The restrained beauty created by subdued light patterns trickling down from high windows mingled with the elegant architecture of the interior. The walls are covered with monuments to the Mecklenburg ducal families from the beginning of the dynasty in the 12th century. After checking every statue, every plaque referencing any member of the royal family, nothing. A new German friend suggested that I check out the nearby Baltic resort of Heiligendamm. The Grand Dukes vacationed there, he said. Maybe you will find some clues there. This is Heiligendamm. It's Germany's first seashore resort, and it was founded by the Grand Dukes of Mecklenburg, so I thought we might find something about Charlotte here. But unfortunately, it was founded in 1795, long after Charlotte left for England. But it's a very beautiful place. More determined than ever, my next destination was the castle at Ludwigslust. Here we are in Ludwigslust. Now I really have high hopes that we'll find something about Princess Charlotte here, because we're told that the Grand Dukes of Mecklenburg were in residence here during the 1700s, and that's just Queen Charlotte's time. So we're going to take a look around the castle, see if we can't find something about her here. The castle was built in the 1700s and the Mecklenburg dukes lived here during the time Charlotte was a young princess. Ludwigslust was originally built as a remote hunting lodge and retreat. In the basement of the castle, now a popular restaurant, these hunting trophies give evidence of its original purpose. This location, so lovely and remote, persuaded the Mecklenburg dukes to expand the lodge and make it, for a time, their permanent residence. It's easy to see why they loved it so much. These elegant rooms, the paintings and tapestries and statues and furniture give us a look backwards to the elegant lifestyle of the Mecklenburg royalty during the 1700s. The gardens that adjoin the castle seem to go on forever. The lakes and streams and pathways through the forest and fountains retain their charm for us even today. A complete search of the castle and grounds has yielded nothing about Charlotte. Traveling through German Mecklenburg has shown me a beautiful region, rich in charm and history, struggling to make the transition from government direction and socialism to freedom and capitalism. It is a journey that I will not forget, but I can't conclude it happily without finding any hint of Charlotte. I'm back on the road again, this time heading for Hamburg and a meeting with Friedrich Franz, the son of the last Grand Duke of Mecklenburg. He had agreed to help me as much as he could and couldn't have been nicer or more gracious. Well, maybe his wife, Grand Duchess Karen Elizabeth, outdid him just a bit. This Grand Duke was exiled from his home, the German region of Mecklenburg, after 1945 when it was occupied by Soviet troops. Later, the Soviets turned it over to the former East German regime. Until reunification, the Duke could not even visit his family home, even though his family had ruled the area for over 800 years. I explained to the Duke that he was my last hope, and after all my searching, I was afraid whatever connections of Princess Charlotte with Mecklenburg there might have been have all been lost. He advised me that there was something I had missed and showed me a painting of Charlotte hanging in his home. He told me that one of her sons became King of Hanover. The Duke's mother came from the House of Hanover, and this makes the Duke the great-great-grandson of Charlotte. But you must understand, he said, that from 1701 until 1918, there were two Mecklenburgs. The words, two Mecklenburgs, grabbed my attention. Mecklenburg-Schwerin was ruled by the Duke's family, but Charlotte came from the Grand Duchy of Mecklenburg-Strelitz. My first questions were, where's Mecklenburg-Strelitz, and how do I get there? The Duke gave me a book about Charlotte's family and told me that Neustrelitz was the main city in the territory of Mecklenburg-Strelitz. I had to backtrack to reach Neustrelitz, but victory was in the air and I was on the road. This is Neustrelitz, and I don't have any doubt that we'll find something about Princess Charlotte here. Neustrelitz was the capital of Mecklenburg-Strelitz, and as we now know, Princess Charlotte came from the Mecklenburg-Strelitz line. So if we can't find something about Princess Charlotte here, I don't know where else we would look. There is evidence that Charlotte's family had been proper royalty. The castle park with statues lining its walkways. Although the castle itself was destroyed by fire, a retreat in the form of a temple to the sun connects the castle grounds to another beautiful Mecklenburg lake. A large statue of Charlotte's nephew, Grand Duke George, and the fully restored orangerie reflects the elegance of Charlotte's royal family's life. I found the graveyard where her royal cousins' graves mingle with stones marked with red stars, the graves of Soviet soldiers. I have found Charlotte's family home, but have found nothing specific about her. This is a real disappointment. Not that the castle grounds here at North Strelitz aren't beautiful, they are, but there's no trace of Princess Charlotte here anywhere, and I was sure we would find something over here. And if she's not here, I don't know of any other place to look. Unless maybe there's something, maybe there's another clue in the book that the Grand Duke gave me. After spending some time with the book, I discovered that Charlotte did not grow up in North Strelitz, but in the town of Miro. Where was Miro? My map showed a tiny town a few miles from North Strelitz, but nowhere near the main roads. As I drove into Miro, I found a charming lakeside village. I stopped and asked if there were a castle in the town. I followed the directions I was given onto a small moated island. An old church in bad repair caught my attention. Then I saw two very old, though somehow elegant buildings facing each other across a muddy yard that was host to several groups of clucking chickens. We've been looking for Queen Charlotte all over Mecklenburg, and hopefully we'll find her here. In her ancestral home, this is our last chance. I was confronted by a man who sternly asked my business in this building. I told him I was looking for some evidence of a princess of Mecklenburg-Strelitz who later became Queen Charlotte of Britain. He quickly assured me that I had come to the right place. This castle was built under the supervision of Charlotte's mother, he said, and Charlotte herself had lived in this very place. This castle protector was Herr Zimmermann, and he obviously loved his castle and the royal family who had lived here. Inside, we found evidence of what it must have looked like in 1760 when 16-year-old Charlotte learned she was to become a queen. Herr Zimmermann also told me about Charlotte's brother, Duke Adolf Friedrich IV, the boy Duke, who was frightened of storms, and then later gave permission for his sister to marry British King George III. And when her brother died, he was placed in this crypt under the nearby church along with other members of Charlotte's family. Right here, where I saw his very face beneath the glass coffin cover. But tragically, not all of Charlotte's family is buried here. Here we are on Insel, which means Love Island. And behind me is the grave stone monument of the last Grand Duke of Mecklenburg-Strelitz, the last of Queen Charlotte's line. He died at the end of the First World War, accused of being a spy by suicide, and so he was exiled here, not able to be buried in the family crypt. His monument, broken as was his life, and surrounded by a serpent indicating the deception that was a part of the reason for his death. So here we are, the last of the line. Looking across the lake from Insel, I was exhilarated. I had found the living memory of Princess Charlotte and her connection to us. Does it really matter? What difference does it make where the names of our cities and counties came from? Who cares what historical links there might be? If you are asking these questions, you will never understand the feelings of joy, pride, and accomplishment that grew up inside of me as I drove back toward the Autobahn and began my triumphal return home to North Carolina's Mecklenburg. Funding for the search for Princess Charlotte was provided in part by the Mary Duke Biddle Foundation in cooperation with the Triangle Community Foundation.
UNC-TV gratefully acknowledges the support of Our State Down Home in North Carolina magazine, celebrating 68 years of North Carolina travel, history, personalities, and folklore. Our State, available at fine bookstores everywhere. And by the Charlotte Museum of History, open daily except Monday, now presenting Community of Faiths, the spiritual and religious heritage of the Southern Piedmont. Information available by phone or on the web.